New Church Live. Great to have you joining me for 10 minutes of calm this morning. And today, what we're taking a look at is the idea of looking in the mirror. And so much of it is looking at this dichotomy between religion and spirituality. And then one of the key parts of looking at that difference between religion and spirituality is understanding spirituality is a beautiful thing. And so is religion. We have a lot of people in the world today who are like, yeah, I'm spiritual, but not religious, and get that, totally understand that. In certain environments I can certainly agree with that, and this is an important part to consider when we make those distinctions. One distinction that can be made between spirituality and religion is this: spirituality asks nothing of us, religion does. Spirituality can be at times just sort of like a feel good thing. It's just about having a transcendent experience. There's nothing that you're called to do differently or do better, or something you're asked to put aside. Now, that's not always true. I want to be clear about that, but that's something that can definitely happen. And we want to have lives, folks, that are really robust. And robust lives mean we need to be able to look in the mirror, and religion can really help us do that. Look in the mirror and think like, oh, these are the places where I'm really messing up. So let's take a look at a passage here from a piece of Christian New Church theology. This is looking at a deeper meaning to a line in the Bible that reads, "The angel of Jehovah said, 'Here you are pregnant.'" In other words, something being born. And it goes on to say, the point at which our rationality, and rationality from a spiritual perspective, is where we see the ratio of the spiritual to the natural. It's where we see how life kind of connects to bigger principles down here on earth. Is said to take life, grow in the womb, and be born when we start to realize that we harbor evil and falsity, which contradict and resist what is true and good. So it's an interesting concept there around when life can start to be born, and there's so many different arenas where things are born, but that idea of this starting to be born, this realization, oh yeah, there's a third dimension to life, and how does that relate to the here and now? And so much of that birthing process is when we really get clear that there's parts in our life where we harbor evil and falsity, where we're just off base. And that is not something we talk a lot about in our culture, because it's just not very American to really take a look at self-examination. But it certainly is if you or anyone you know is part of the 12-step program, and that's Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Al-Anon, Nar-Anon. There's a bunch of them. Overeaters Anonymous. There's a bunch out there. And so much of the premise of that is what people in those arenas call the fourth step. And the fourth step is where we make a fearless moral inventory. And fearless moral inventory it's all based on rigorous honesty. And it's not rigorous honesty where we're taking the moral inventory of people out there. That's so clear. We're not to take other people's moral inventory. We're to take our own and to really look deeply with rigorous honesty into those places where we're harboring evil and falsity, just to be that blunt about it. I was Googling it this morning, getting ready, and one site on the dealing with the 12 steps said the tendencies we're supposed to look at, and this is a good list actually. The tendencies to where we're supposed to look at is, where are we exercising the following? Self-pity, that's a big one. Self-will, in other words, we're totally like overpowering other people. Anger, resentment, selfish pride, fear. Where are those things coming true? And even if we just picked one off for today, like, just look at the tendency towards self-pity. Where does that show up for you? And for us to look at that candidly and be like, oh yeah, I do that. Oh yeah, that's not good. That is going to get in the way of me connecting with God and me connecting with other people, because it puts it, something like self-pity in this weird way. It kind of is an ego trip, because it's our belief that the world kind of is not doing what the world is supposed to do for us. And that's very tempting to fall into that. And yet we're constantly asked, like, don't do that. Again, we can have self-pity because the world sometimes will, quote unquote, turn against us. But it comes down to this: so what? Like, that's just life. And if we harbor self-pity, it's definitely not a growth strategy in life. It's not something that's going to lead to more loving people, or more engaged people, or people who are better at serving. It's not serving the better angels of our nature. So there would be a simple example, folks. When we do that, when we're really able to look candidly in the mirror, uh, it can just start to shift things. I remember, one of the 12-step prayers really striking me, and the first time I heard it, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a really hard one to do. Which is when you're in a difficult relationship, using the word her or him, bless him or her, change me. Just a simple prayer to God. Bless them, change me. Bless them, change me. Bless them, change me. That's a mirror statement because we're just looking to bless them. And yep, there may be steps we need to take. We may need to distance ourselves from a person. All that is very true. And we can still take that basic step of goodwill, which is critically important. We talked about that a couple of days ago, and exercise that goodwill going out, like bless them and Lord, change me. That's the mirror statement. So a window and a mirror. And a window that's looking out, seeking to send blessing out there into the world, and a mirror that's looking in and just saying, "Okay, God, this is triggering some stuff in me that I need to take a look at." And even friends in a relationship, I said this last night. Like even in a relationship, there are those relationships where you really are only 10% at fault. There's somewhere you're 90%, but there's somewhere you're just 10. You just played a small little part in it. But that's where the leverage is. Even if you're only a small percentage responsible for a difficulty in relationship, like take 100% responsibility for that little bit, because that's what God asks us to do. You can't control other people. We all know that, and this teaching here today just reminds us of that again. So, friends, today, the takeaway today is take a look, if you want a real specific one, take a look at your tendency towards self pity. Where is that showing up for you? And today, just be really prayerful. Like, God, I don't want any of that. Like, please take it from me. Like, I can't, you can, I'm asking. I can't get rid of self pity, Lord. You can, I'm asking you to take it. And just see how life works. So let that be your little guide for today, my friends. Hope that makes sense. And now, what we're going to do is shift gears, and we're going to shift gears down into doing a little prayer, a little meditation. Excuse me, a little prayer, a little meditation, a little prayer, and then we'll say hi to folks on social media. So, with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath and listen to the prayer bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, give it a little cheery hello here. Righty, so let's let me just pull this on up. Again, I hope you folks are surviving all this heat. We are getting a lot of it this weekend, and actually have a wedding coming up outdoors, so that'll be a little that'll be interesting, fun and interesting. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Great to have you joining us. And Linda, my dear friend, always wonderful to have you joining us as well. And let's flip on to this other page, see if there's any comments there. All right, technology is our friend today, which is really good. I see Chuck Ebert, my buddy out from Colorado, is joining us. Chuck, thank you for joining us this morning. So, friends, I do wish you all the very best. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow. And a closing note, just again, a little gratitude, a little support around support for New Church Live. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today. Take care, friends, and God bless.